Welcome to the Wise Guides. I'm Evie. I'm your host, and I'm also a first-gen professional with over a decade of experience in corporate HR. I'm here to provide you with practical guides on how to increase your wealth and your happiness at work. Whether you're feeling like an imposter in that new job, juggling a million responsibilities, or just trying to get your foot in the door, this is your space to find real, no BS advice, hear from people who have already been there, and maybe even laugh a little along the way. So grab your coffee or your glass of wine, settle in, and let's dive into today's topic. You are exactly where you need to be. You ever felt like you're wandering through your career without a map, unsure of where you're going to go next? Well, you're not alone. In today's episode of The Wise Guides, we're diving into what it means to navigate your career, even if you're the first in your family to break into the professional world. We're going to talk about how to find a direction, how to set goals, and how to create a roadmap that actually works for you. I know that many of us were influenced by our family about which career path we needed to take. Many of us growing up heard that we needed to be either a doctor, a lawyer, or maybe go even into the military. And those really were our only options. We didn't have a chance for our mind to wander and think about all the other possibilities of where we wanted to go. And as we grew up, we wanted to be able to expand our creativity and maybe explore some of these fields, but we ran into the challenge of having to convince our parents and our family that we wanted to pursue something that maybe they didn't agree with. Many first-gen professionals enter the workforce without the benefit of having career advice from family members who walked that path before. And this unfortunately leads to uncertainty, missed opportunities, and even burnt out in the future. Without a clear roadmap, you might find yourself stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill you, or jumping from one role to the other without actually making any progress. I know the pressure to succeed can feel overwhelming, especially when you feel like you're the one that's figuring it all out on your own. One of the biggest challenges is not knowing where to start. Without a clear understanding of what options are available for us, it's easy to feel paralyzed by all the choices that are in front of us. If we've ever felt like you're floating from one job to the other without a clear direction, it's okay. It's actually a really common experience, and it doesn't mean that you can't find your way in the near future. The first thing you need to do is take some time to assess your strengths, your values, and your interests. What are you passionate about? What are you naturally good at? And then use those insights to help you guide your career. There's a lot of assessments that you can take. I would recommend the Myers-Briggs assessment, the Gallup Strength Finders assessment. Any of these assessments and these guides can be a good starting point for you to understand what strengths you already innately bring to the table. Because by understanding your strengths, you can figure out where you can apply those, where they will actually hold some weight to help you influence where your career is going. I recommend that you set aside 30 minutes this week to write down what your strengths are, reflect on them, and then reflect how they align, or maybe even they don't align with your current job. Step number 2 is to explore your career options. You want to research different career options that align with your strengths and your interests. You want to understand what are those possibilities for you. And this can take some time because sometimes we think that careers are linear, and if you studied communications, you need to go into the media or you need to go into a related field with communications. Well, that's not necessarily true because there's definitely transferable skills that are available for you to explore because you have that innate strength in you, or maybe you have that skill set from your education. It's important for you to think very broadly and be very open to thinking about all the different possibilities that you can take on and all the possibilities of where your career can go. Once you've taken some time to document what different career options can look like for you, whether it's different industries or different levels within the industry that you're in, you want to meet with people so that you can get some anecdotal information about what their experience is, either in those different fields, in those different industries, or at those different levels. You want to reach out to people on LinkedIn so that you can touch base with them, maybe 15 minutes for coffee, or maybe just a quick Zoom chat, just to pick their brain and really understand what their experience is, what they like, what they dislike, and things of that nature. If it's people that you know that are part of your wisdom circle, that's even better because it gives you an opportunity for you to connect with people that might already know something about you and know what your strengths are, and they can help you connect the dots to see if you would be successful in that new industry or in that different position. Once you have a good idea of maybe step you want to take next and where you want your career to go next, it's important to set short and long term goals. You want to know where you're going to be 5 years from now, but you also want to understand where you're going to be 18 months from now and 6 months from now. And those goals, you need to lay them out in such a way where they feel like things that you can actually accomplish. You want to break things down into those actionable steps and be able to determine, okay, what is reasonable for me to do in the next 6 months? Maybe in the next 6 months, you're going to take a few courses in that new industry so that you can have a few different skills that under your belt to help you explore that new industry and dive into a little further and see if that industry is really for you. Maybe in 12 months, you want to be able to say that you got a certification in that new industry so that in 18 months, you have all the skills that you need to start applying for jobs in that specific new industry. So again, you want to be able to plan this backwards. You want to say, where do I want to be 5 years from now? And then from those 5 years, be able to work backwards. Okay, what does 3 years mean? What does 18 months mean? What does 6 months mean? And how do I set actionable goals for each one of those milestones so that I can work my way towards that? If you want to talk about this one-on-one, let's work together. Reach out to me. All the details on how to book your call are in the show notes, and we can talk about what this plan looks like for you, what 18 months looks like for you, and even what 5 years looks like for you, so that we can actually start designing the life that you want. If you don't start planning this today, you're going to wake up 2 years from now and you're going to be frustrated because you're not anywhere further than where you are currently right now. You want to start thinking about these things now. If your brain is starting to go there, then you want to take the actionable steps to get yourself physically there as soon as possible. I never want to discount the overwhelming feeling of wanting to explore a new career and not knowing how to get there. I understand that it comes with a lot of stress and it feels like a heavy burden that's over you because you want to take the steps into a different field, but you're not really sure where or what that means. I want to make sure you understand that this is completely normal. We all become overwhelmed with all the different options that are in front of us, but it is up to us for us to get into the driver's seat and really make decisions about where we want to go next and make sure that it's stuff that's tangible where we can actually accomplish the goals that we're setting for ourselves. It's important for us to actually take actions and move forward because if not, then we become frustrated down the line and angry with ourselves for not taking the action that we could have taken 5 years ago. And as a closing thought, I think it's also important to consider the fact that we consistently change and we consistently grow. What this means is that we will always have different interests, and that is perfectly okay. As humans, we weren't meant to be completely linear. We weren't meant to just follow one path. Our minds and our experiences grant us with the possibilities of exploring different things throughout our lives and also throughout our careers. So our priorities are going to change, our values are going to change, and it's important for us to be flexible with where we want to go within our careers. Sometimes we want to make a drastic change, and that's perfectly fine. Some people want to start new careers at the age of 40, 50, 60, and that's perfectly fine too. It's important to understand that our lives are going to continue to change, and we need to continue to remain adaptable and flexible to those changes that life presents us with. We also want to make sure that we actually take steps forward. We want to make sure that once we know that we want to do something different, we allow ourselves to explore those possibilities instead of shutting them out because we are afraid of playing it unsafe, or we're afraid of what somebody else might think, or we're afraid of disappointing our families or our parents or anybody else that's not us. We want to make sure that we're satisfying our own needs and our curiosity for exploring different career paths and not putting ourselves in a box because as humans, we weren't meant to live in a box, especially when it comes to our careers and especially when it comes to using our strengths to make the world a better place. In the show notes, you can find your guide on how to start mapping out your career plan. All of these thoughts in a concise, actionable form that you can just pick up and put into action. And just like that, you've received your dose of work wisdom. I hope you're walking away with something that makes you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more seen, and a whole lot more capable. Remember that the journey is yours. There's no one right way to do it, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. If today's topic hit home for you and you're thinking you can use a little extra support, I'd love to chat one-on-one. Head over to the show notes so you can figure out how to book some time with me. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're feeling a little generous, please leave a quick review. It can help more people like us find the show. Plus, I'd love to hear what you think. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at WorkWiseGuide.